So Greenwald Realty Team, who we are and what we do. I have been in this space for 15 plus years in terms of working with seasoned citizens and their families as to their housing options. Many of my transactions in real estate are people moving from their home of 40, even 50. I've had 160 plus years. They lived in their home in San Diego before they were moving to a senior community. And then others who have lived, just came down to San Diego to be near grandchildren, and then have moved to a senior community. So it runs the gamut. So we are dedicated, we are committed to relieving the stress that is involved, ingrained, inherent in any move. I don't care if you're 20 years old or 100 years old, moving is a pain in the you-know-what. And our complete I just lost the, because someone's calling. How do I just lost the.
Oh, you're good. Keep talking.
Oh, sorry.
You're fine. Keep going. It's there.
Okay. So we're help make the rest of your life the best of your life by giving you what you don't know, and here we're here to give you that information to help you guide you through the process. So let's go next page. I usually control that. But...
Yeah, Vanya's got it.
Okay, Vanya's got it. Okay. So enjoy life. It has an expiration date, and nobody, there's a bunch of adages. Nobody gets out of here alive. There's 100% death rate in the state of California. I could go on, but the whole idea is it's your life, it's your expectations, and how do you want to live it so that you can enjoy it? Whether it's, I just took up pickleball, having a great time, whether you want to play pickleball, bocce ball, cards, whatever it is. We're here to try to give you that insight as to how to best enjoy that. Next page. The journey. Well, I could go on and on. This could be the whole workshop right here. There is going to be a time in your life where things change. You wake up, you don't just wake up one day and say, to your partner, to your spouse, to your loved one, we're going to move to a senior community, or we're going to sell this home because it's overwhelming to us. It's a journey that gets you to a point where you decide to make a decision. Unfortunately, too many people wait too long to make that decision, where they're forced into a situation where they cannot possibly return to their home. Case in point, you fall, you break a hip, you go into skilled nursing environment, and for whatever reason, you are not capable of going back into your home because it's probably a tri-level in La Jolla, Bay Park, whatever it is, up on the hill. And how are you going to navigate that home, even with 24/7 care? And now the family's in somewhat of a turmoil. Your children are not all in agreement as to what is the best course of action. Do we have one of my children come in and move in with us? Is that a possibility? Do we have an outside care agency come in and take care of us? What is the best course of action? So we are here to address it early in the game. We do not charge. I want to make it very clear. If you want to just have a consult with us, we are not attorneys. I mean, you have a great team, part of UCSD. You have a 5-legged stool right there as part of your organization. You have real estate, you have wealth manager, you have legal counsel, an estate planning attorney, you have home care, and you have access to fiduciary world. You have all of that right there at your hands to take advantage of all the things that you need to plan accordingly for when the inevitable is going to happen. And the inevitable is, at some point in time in your life, you're going to need some care, whether it's in the home, at a senior community, whether you're right size, however it's going to be. So we do not charge for our time to give you a consult as to your options, a one-on-one. Here's what we know. Here's where the course of action could be. Here are your options. Take it from there and take that to your legal counsel, take that to your CPA, take that to all the people that are around, take that to your children. That would be my number one thing, is to take this, we call it the caterpillar, take this caterpillar and take it to your children with a bunch of questions so that you can converse with them, they can converse back with you. Initial consultation, safety review of the home, a home inspection as to the status of certain conditions in the home. You may not be aware of things that are going to happen in that home that are minor problems today, but could be bigger problems down the road. Financial information, options, aging in place, right sizing, move to a senior community. Next page. Ron Greenwald show. I started a podcast about a half a year ago. Oh, want to go back one? I started a podcast about a half a year ago. You can get it on all the various platforms, Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts, it's there. These are interviews with a wide variety of people that have had experiences and journeys in the aging process. Some of the interviews are with attorneys. Some of them are with a daughter, the story of a daughter who moved in with mom and dad to be the caregiver. It's a very compelling story of the angst that happened and when the whole family got back together and the repercussions of that situation with her siblings. There's one with hospice. There's a whole even John, for those who know John Quintera, the famous sports figure here in town, there's an interview with John Quintera. So we try to mix it up a little bit, but mainly it's for you to get insight as to the aging process and to make sure you take a course of action that fulfills your needs, your wants, your journeys, and your happiness, and not always enabling those children and grandchildren. So that's what the Ron Greenwald show. I invite you to listen to that. Next page. Today's presentation will focus on, as we say, housing options, right sizing. A lot of people call it downsizing. I like the word right sizing a little better, and senior community living. Next page. So aging in place versus a senior community versus home share. These are your options, and we're going to discuss all three of them. We're going to go. We have an aging in place discussion, I believe, next week on the books in terms of making sure your home is safe and sane for you to live in. So we're not going to so much focus on that today as we are on the senior community options that are available to you. Aging in place, and these are, again, going back to the outline, aging in place, care, financial and legal, the money, that's always top of mind, housing options, the stuff, what do we do with all the stuff, then the actual the journey of the move, and selling a home. Next. Aging in place. Again, we're going to go over this in great detail next week, but I want you to give an outline to some of the things that we will be talking about next week. Falls. Again, I was in a home earlier in the week that had the classic situation where, and I don't know how many of your homes, and again, that's why I love doing this in person, because I can ask people to raise their hands, but how many of you have owned a home that was probably built in the 70s or 80s? Again, I don't know how to, let's go back to Zoom. Okay. How many people were? How many of you have a bathtub shower where the little window over the bathtub and shower is your only ventilation, and you have to climb into the bathtub to get to that window to open it up to let the steam out and things like that? That's a fall risk. House fires, bed sores, infections, burns, lacerations, sprains. All of those things are common denominators of when you cannot remain to live independently. And again, we'll talk about ways to prevent all of these 7 incidences from happening in great detail next week. Next. Warning signs, real briefly. I just wish everybody would take a look at area rugs in their home and being able to walk. Grab bars, able to sit if you're taking a shower, a place to sit. Again, we talk about curbs, and today we have so many potholes right outside of our front door right now. Please be careful, and toxic materials, all of these things can create an environment where you're not going to be able to live safely in that home. And again, next week. Next. AARP HomeFit Guide. I highly encourage you, if you're not you don't have to be a member of AARP to go to their website and get a wealth of information as to a home fit guide. And this goes room by room, almost piece of furniture by piece of furniture, to make a home safe. If you want more information on the home fit guide in terms of actually getting a contractor into the home to give you bids on that, call us. We can arrange for someone to come out to the home and just take this home fit guide and go room by room and give you ideas of cost to recreate that home in a way that's safe for you to live in as long as possible. Because what we do know that 95% of the population, maybe 90% of the population, wants to age in place as long as possible. And we're here to help you facilitate that, and we'll give you options to help do that. Again, in terms of people always ask me, well, if I do all of these things, am I hurting the resale value of my home? And in today's world, we know the aging population, we know the baby boomers are taking over in terms of demographics. So really, the answer is no. If we do it in good taste and we do it in today's modern decor, we can create an environment that actually can enhance the value of your home to the aging population of who's buying homes today. In intergeneration. Oh, go ahead. I give you this website, aginglifecare.org. I highly recommend you get on their website and take a look at what they do. One of my biggest pet peeves is, and we all go to the doctor and the doctor asks us how we're doing, is we go fine. And then we go home and we're not so fine. An aging life care specialist is someone who can be your advocate today and in the future for your healthcare requirements, needs, assessments, the interaction of multiple drugs that you may be taking and being subscribed to by prescribed by a doctor. What is all that happening to your health and to your well-being and to your ability to function on a day in and day out basis? Aginglifecare.org, they used to be called geriatric care managers, and nobody liked the word geriatric, so they changed it to Aging Life Care. They actually have a conference here in San Diego this upcoming week. We all go to the dentist, we go get our carb lubed twice a year or every 5,000 miles, or our tires changed and all of that. But so many times we don't advocate for ourselves with our physicians, our doctors, our healthcare team. We are, again, you, I assume, unless you're a doctor listening to me, a physician listening to me, do you really know the questions to ask when you go see your physician? Same thing when you go see your attorney. Do you have a pre-prepared list of questions that you want to ask to get the answers that you want into your documents? And that's what Aging Life Care is about. Next page. Financial and legal. Capital gains. Yes, the answer is yes. There are capital gains subject to on the sale of a personal residence. Now, you do have, as a husband and wife, as a couple, you do have up to a $500,000 exclusion of that gain. So again, very simple math. If you bought it for $100,000 and sell it for $1 million, you technically have a $900,000 capital gain. You can immediately write off $500,000. So now you're subject to a $400,000 capital gain, but you've owned the home for 40 years. You have made improvements to that home, and that can be added on to that $100,000, what we call, the word we call is basis. Again, do you have records for 40 years? Probably not. Can you be a little flexible with that number? Yes, I'm not your CPA. I'm not telling you what to do, but there is some flexibility as to what is reasonable for a person to have spent on the improvement of their home, new landscaping, new kitchen, new bathroom, new paint, new flooring. What have you reasonably spent over 40 years to improve that home? Cash flow, life expectancy, that's where we want to bring in a wealth advisor to do a cash flow analysis that takes in all of your income sources. And if you live to 100, if you're listening to me and you're in your 80s right now, the odds of you living to 100 are pretty high today. So will your cash flow exceed your life expectancy? The old funny story is, you want to die, the last check that you write bounces, but nobody writes checks anymore. So I don't know what to say to that. Prop 19, be very aware of this one. It came across as something that was fantastic. And in many ways for seniors, it can be a real plus. So if you own a home that you bought, again, 30, 40 years ago, and you have a very low property tax basis in that property, you can sell it and move to anywhere in the state and maintain. And again, there are too many nuances to go into it, but you can pretty much maintain your original property tax basis if you buy anywhere in the state of California. And obviously, you're going to buy for more than what you purchased the original home for that you're in now. If you have rental properties and you want to pass those rental properties on to your children, and they think they're going to inherit Prop 19, they're going to inherit the low property tax basis, that is not going to happen anymore. So again, I ask you to think about if that's what's in their mindset, to have that open discussion with your family. And again, whoever your tax advisor is, legal counsel is, to understand that even if in your primary residence, if you plan to have your children inherit your primary residence, but they don't plan to live there, they are not going to be able to maintain the low property tax basis. So again, it's a double-edged sword as to what Prop 19 can do. Be very aware of that. Step up in basis. Proper titling will allow you, a husband and wife, if you bought the home for $100,000 and it's properly titled upon the passing of a loved one, you get what they call a full step up in basis to current fair market value. So if you were to decide to sell, so your spouse passes away, and a year later you decide to move to a senior community, and it's properly titled in the trust, you can get what they call a full step up in basis and avoid capital gain, or avoid the mass number of capital gains, because the step up in basis is the current fair market value at the date of the passing of a loved one. Again, well into the weeds of that. Great to talk to an attorney about it as to exactly how that works, and to make sure that you have earned that step up in basis if something would happen to a spouse or to you and your children wish to sell the property after you pass away, that they, as the inheritance of the property, get a step up in basis. Financial resources, long-term health care. We're not going to get into that one. That's a whole different workshop for another day. But if you have it, you may want to have, again, there are advocates that will come to you and help you make sure you get the insurance proceeds that you deserve if you qualify for your long-term health care insurance. Like anything else, it's an insurance policy, and they don't just voluntarily say, yippee, we're going to give you whatever you want. You might sometimes have to have an advocate to get those proceeds from the long-term care insurance. So that's financial and legal in a nutshell. Next. Housing options. Well, now that I say we're officially past COVID in many ways, I hope, taking a cruise. Before COVID, this was actually a way, I would say about 5% of my clients were living. They were on a cruise ship about 300 days a year, and they couch surfed with their children. I guess that's a young person's term. couch surfed with their children the other 65 days out of the year, because there is a doctor on board. Dr. Stubing from the Love Boat, he's on every ship. And so you do have medical care, and you live on a boat, and it may not be more, it might could be less money than actually moving to some of these senior communities. I'm not 100% sure. Home share, intergenerational, now with the incredible ability to add an ADU, an additional unit onto your backyard in the state of California, and especially here in San Diego. Matt actually is an expert on that. If you have any questions on ADUs, call us. We'll get you the information that you need on that subject. If you want to move into the backyard of where your children live, or you want them moving into your backyard by adding an additional unit, it has become in vogue. It's become very acceptable. And again, obviously, like anything else, every little municipality may have its own little niche. Encinitas is probably different than Santee, which is different than San Diego, which is different than La Jolla, but it's available to at least learn about it. Is that the most cost-effective way for you to live out the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years, whatever it may be? Move in with relatives, actually all being under one roof. I never recommend that one. So we'll pass on that. Next. Housing options. Here's a laundry list. Age restricted only, independent living community, assisted living, memory care, CCRC, retirement community, boarding care. We're going to go into depth on each one of these. So again, okay, that's fine. Let's stay there. Age restricted only. Ocean Hills up in Oceanside, there's probably 1,300 homes up there. It's your own home. You live in your own house. You take care of your own house. You have to take care of the roof. And I mean, obviously there's HOAs and there's CC&Rs, like in any planned community, but it's your house. You're cooking, cleaning, you're doing everything. And it's a beautiful community. It has a golf course. It's got like a 20,000 square foot clubhouse. Every game you want to know, everybody, but you have to be 55 and older. All of these communities. Auberge in the Del Sur area, which is just east of Fairbanks Ranch. They have two communities. They have one that's a single family detached home, and then they have a condo complex that is 55 plus. Bernardo Oaks and Seven Oaks, probably the most oldest long-standing one here in San Diego. Two separate communities. Again, they have their own clubhouse. They have condos, single family detached homes, all in one area. Again, golfing, clubhouse. Pacific Regions, that's the high rise on Nobel. It's truly a hybrid relation where you actually are buying into a condominium. You're buying, and the HOA fees are exorbitant because they are giving you meals and you're living like you're in a senior community, but you own the condo. You own where you're living. Rancho Carlsbad, that's where you own the land. These are, again, they are I'll call them manufactured home. I hate to use the word because these are beautiful homes. The word mobile home always sounds negative. These are beautiful homes affixed to the land where you own the land, 55 plus community, again, a little golf course, a pool. These used to be, when I got in this business, you could pick one of these up for about 200, maybe 200, and today maybe $800,000. Oceana, 55 apartments. So obviously you can go to that website if you want a lot more of these type of communities. The farther east you go in California, certainly in Arizona, but a lot more of it like Moreno Valley and the desert type, Riverside, San Bernardino County. But that's what age restricted. So, but again, like people ask, can I have I'm 60 years old, I'm still working, can I have my 25-year-old son move in with me? No. Cannot happen. So just be a word for the wise. Next. This is a community that we thought was under construction, but it got held up by the courts. This is called the Junipers. It's a Lennar project right off the 15 freeway and Carmel Mountain Road. You'll see it all being graded. There used to be a golf course there. This is, once they get through the legal ramifications of what's ever happening, I think it has something to do with the drainage of the water that's coming off the hill into the into whatever. This is going to be a barn burner. I think this will be in so high demand because of the location off the 15 freeway, access to everything off the 56 and the 15. Go onto their website, kind of just follow it up. But right now, I think there's some litigation, but it's fully graded. If you want to just go and drive by and look at the grading, right, you can see the word basketball, pickleball courts, HOA fees. It's going to be really fabulous once it's up and running. Next. Independent and assisted living communities. Many of these communities have both independent and assisted living on the same campus. So you can see I don't use the word facility in any of my language, because everything on this page is not a facility. It is a cruise ship in dry dock. It is a community. It is a campus. It is a place where it's kind of, we're trying to write a pilot, believe it or not, where we have a group of people that have come together to move into a senior community that were also in the same fraternity in the 1970s. So the same group of people in the 1970s were in a fraternity on a college campus have now all come together to move into one of these senior communities and just share experiences. And it's really kind of maybe not quite as that chaotic as when you were in college, but it can be pretty crazy because they have happy hours almost every day. Oakmont, Merrill, again, you can read what's on the list. They have various communities all over the county. What have I said? What have I preached the last 15 years that I've been honored, totally honored to be part of the UCSD Retirement Association is, and we did tours last year. We're going to hopefully start up tours in the second half of 2023 of various communities. But you as an individual, and you go, Ron, I'm not ready for it. I know you're not ready for it, but you don't know tomorrow, and you don't know 5 years from now, and you don't know 10 years from now. So go out, Google these communities, ask for the marketing director, make a date to go tour the community on your own if you so like. If you want to call Matt or myself, and I can give you the name of the person to talk to, give you input into each community. I do not do what the word is placement. Matt and I do not work in that field. We can refer you to somebody who works like a real estate agent who will really get you in the car and take you to all of these communities one-on-one and get you online to all these communities. But you as an individual should go in and visit them, get to meet the personnel, get to meet the people that live there, eat their food for free because they love to feed you and the food is amazing. These people recruit chefs from 4-star hotels, Hilton, all of them. Because why do I say that and why am I animated with that? Because 10 years from now, something's going to happen 5 years from now, and you are going to be forced, whether you want to or not, to seriously consider moving into a community. Very few people do it while they're healthy, and I wish more people did while they're healthy, move in because it's so much fun in some of these places, but do it. And so again, to avoid that problem, you're in a skilled nursing, you're not well, your children fly out, none of them live in San Diego, they fly out from all over the country, you have 2 or 3 or 4 children, and they are battling as to what to do about mom, what to do about dad. And you say, if you have that ability to converse with them, or you've written it down prior, if I need to move to a senior community, this is the one I want. Please call Merrill Gardens, please call Belmont Village and see if there's a space available for me because I visited them, I like them. That's my choice. That's my choice. Because hopefully you are getting better, obviously, and to be able to live in one of these communities. So all of these on this list have both independent and assisted in the same campus. These are all what we call month-to-month communities where you're going to pay by the month, and that it will include certain features. And we're going to we'll touch on that real quickly. You want to go in, and I think we prepared a list of questions for you to ask when you go to these communities, because they all have different contracts, they all have different platforms of how you get charged. If you go in as an independent person in independent living and you don't require any help from any of the people on staff other than to have the meals, then you're going to get charged X. If you need help in certain daily lifestyle living, medications or what transfer or whatever it may be, they will charge you for that. So be aware of that. We'll go next page. Only memory care. If you have a spouse or loved one that has been impacted by dementia or Alzheimer's, there are certain communities that are only memory care, nothing else. And I'm just going to tell you my personal journey with this over the last couple of years. We've had to work with a family member who very young onset of dementia, diagnosed at 60, is now 66. We moved to a senior community. That community could not handle this person because of the advancement of the disease, and it is a terrible disease. And now he is at Silverado in Escondido. And I have to say, amazing. I don't know all of these others personally as well, obviously, as I know of them, but I don't know any loved one there or person there at this moment, but I do know Silverado, Escondido. And if you have any information about them or insights into their service, call us, we'll give you their information. They have done an amazing job. This person is really, we thought we were going to lose him probably in January, and here we are in April. Again, we'll never get his mind back, but he is thriving under those advanced dementia conditions because of the people at Silverado. So I have no financial interest in Silverado, but there you go. I see hands going up, so we're going to get through this and try to get to questions. Next. Okay. CCRC, Continuing Care Retirement Community, CCRC, Continuing Care Retirement Community. You can see the names. I'm going to, we dealt with all of them. Right now, we just moved two people, both individuals, into Scripps Glen over the last couple months. And so that is a CCRC has all 4 levels of care on one campus. The previous page, those people, they may have independent and assisted living on their campus, and they may even have memory care, but they won't have skilled nursing. So you would have to be outsourced to skilled nursing on those other campuses that we talked about previously. Here, on the campus of Scripps Glen, La Costa Glen, White Sands, Casa de las Campanas, all 4 levels of care are available, so you never have to leave the campus. Now, you may have to leave the apartment that you're in when you go in to live there, because you go in as an independent person, but down the road, you maybe have to leave that apartment, but you'll never have to leave the campus, and they have to provide you with the 4 levels of care. And skilled nursing being the most intense one, obviously. So what does it cost? This is both a month-to-month cost plus an initial buy-in cost. So I can tell you right now, if you want the penthouse at the V, I bet you it's $1.5 million to buy into the initial drop into the V plus the month-to-month. The Costa Glen, Scripps Glen, $700, $800, $1 million is probably the buy-in there. Now, I know the contract for Scripps Glen and La Costa Glen, because they're sister communities. You get, you live there for 15 years or whatever the case may be, upon your passing, your estate will get 75% of the initial deposit. So if you gave them $1 million to move in there, $750,000 would come back to your estate. So that's, again, so that's what a CCRC is. I ask you, it's about a 15, I think it's about a 12 to, it's a pretty extensive contract. Again, if you want to go and want to know the people to talk to there, give us a call. We'll link you up, either email or a phone call, to get you so you can have a tour of the CCRC. Again, have lunch with them, tour, and get to understand their contract a little better. It's a contract I would show an attorney for sure, because it's pretty extensive. But they are truly, they have villas, they have apartments. It's the whole gamut of life. And a lot of people actually use it as a second home, believe it or not, because they do so much traveling that they don't want to deal with their own home. They are on the cruise ship a couple 100 days a year, and they use these communities as just a stomping, as a way to, what's the word?
Stomping ground.
Stomping ground. Okay, that's a good word. Thank you. Thank you. All right, next page. Board and care. Board and care communities are single-story homes right in your own community. They are converted from a standard single-family home, usually into a 5 or 6 bedroom home. If there's a 6-bedroom home, they can be like 3 of the bedrooms only have 1 person in it, and the other 3 bedrooms have 2 people in it. So, maybe 10 folks. Again, really do your due diligence before you want to have someone in a board and care. In theory, it should be more of one-on-one. They're not going to have the amenities. They're not going to have all the cruise ship and dry dock amenities that these other communities there have. This is more, I'm going to say more towards the end of life type of communities, a year or two, diagnosis situation where you really need that 24/7 one-on-one care in a very small, intimate environment. But again, check them out. There are different websites you can go to see kind of the reviews that they have. Some are great, some are not so great. And with the labor issues that we've been having over since COVID, you really want to do your homework. And I don't care which community you go to. I don't care if it's the most expensive community in San Diego, labor shortages and the whole COVID situation, your expectations. And so there you go, expectations. That's the question you want to ask when you are thinking of moving into a community. I don't care which one. What should be my expectations for everything that I want to do? And again, will it be perfect? Will it be like you may be used to in your younger years living at home? Can't be, never will be, but can it get close? And so to make sure your expectations are in line with reality in today's labor shortage. That's that one next. Oh, what to do with all the stuff. This is my favorite one. You've lived in your home 40 years. You've traveled all over the world. You've brought home things from Europe, from Asia, from South America, and now they're in your home. And you've asked your children and your grandchildren, what do they want? And they go, 0. We want nothing. Or we want that one little trinket that I loved that has no monetary value, but it has emotional value, because that is what I used to enjoy when you babysat me, 50, 60 years ago. So what to do with the stuff? Before it becomes an overwhelming task, my personal opinion is to start to go give away the stuff now while you're living in your home. You plan to be there for another few years, whatever the case may be. Start calling in all the family members, the cousins, the aunts, the uncles, the nephews, the brothers, the sisters, and have a give away the stuff day. And go get those little round colored, well, you don't have to go anywhere now, get them off Amazon. And just have all the family members start sticking things on different pieces of furniture. If there's any conflict of if some person wants, 2 people want the same thing, well, then you have a discussion about it, but do it now while everybody's in a good mood, while they're waiting for you to pass away. And then guess what? Then the knives come out because mom always liked you best, or I didn't get shotgun in the car when I was a kid, and now I want everything in the house. That's what happens. I'm telling you right now, Ron the cynic. So do it while everybody's in a good mood, do it while you're in a good mood. And if nobody wants the stuff, then think about charity, or think about eBay or selling some of this stuff. What do you want to happen? So you can start to have more of a minimalist things in terms of how the house is, what to do with it. But there are people There are organizations, they call them senior move managers, that will come in and they will go drawer by drawer with you, closet by closet with you, and help you get over that emotional attachment, because they have no emotional attachment to all of the stuff in the house. And you go, man, I didn't even know I had this. I haven't seen it for 10 years, but I remember wearing it at the certain event. So it has emotional attachment. So is that something we can can we give it away? Can we give it to charity? What can we do with it? We just had a situation where the estate gave a lot of or opened it up to a theater group. And that was kind of cool. I mean, theater groups need they need, clothing and all that kind of furniture for stage presence. And what a better way to give things away than to a theater group who can use it, obviously. So think about your passion as to who you would want to get it, and go from there. So I think we call paralysis by analysis. The word 10-round battle, that's where mom and daughter get together and try to decide what should we take and what should go. And it doesn't really work so well. So again, realistic expectations. The sticky note party is what I was referring to at the beginning of this slide. And make it fun, make it kind of a game, and write it all down. Take pictures, write it all down, give it to your estate planning attorney, they can put it on make it a zip file. And so it's all there. So when, again, the inevitable happens, and it will, hopefully 30, 40 years from now, that there's no question. Mom wanted me to have the watch, and you, brother, you got the trinket. I don't know what it is. So that's my pitch on that one. Okay. Oh, there we go. Here it is. So here at NASM, NASMM, the National Association of Senior Move Managers. Again, we have referrals to you on that one. We are happy to give them to you. It's not just that you have to be moving to a senior community to use their services. They are happy to come in and just help you organize, downsize, and what to do with the stuff, give it away. Estate sale, today's world, an estate sale can only happen if you're not living there. So what we do is, if somebody is moving to a senior community, we want to make sure that they move to that community first, take everything they need, make sure that the kids and the grandkids have gotten what they want out of the house, and then we have an on-site estate sale. To warn an on-site estate sale today, the gross value of the sale of the proceeds for the estate sale company needs to be somewhere between $7,000 and $10,000 for them to, and you're going to get about a 50-50 split. So you get a few shekels out of that if that warrants an on-site estate sale. The other option is, and again, we won't go in the weeds on it today, but if you have, there's a consignment. A gentleman here who does a lot of work with me on consignment. He has a physical retail store here in San Diego County, where he will come in and cherry pick the things that he can resale in the consignment store and give you about 50% on the dollar of what he sells. And that will offset the cost for him to take all the other things that that have no monetary value. And what he does is he takes them, loads them up and they all go to Mexico. So it's a feel good situation. So what has no monetary value will go to Mexico. What has monetary value will end up in his store, and you get like 50% of the dollar on that item. So that's consignment. Selling your home. This living in your home and prepping for sale. A lot of people always ask, well, Ron, where is the market today? Is it 2022? Absolutely not. But I can assure you, we have sold about 10 homes in the first quarter of this year, and everyone but one, because they didn't listen to me, has sold for over asking price because there's no inventory. If you have a home in La Jolla, Claremont, UTC, Rancho Penasquito, Scripps Ranch, anywhere, there is no inventory. So if you think this is not the right time to sell, but you want to, I would think again, if you have the right property in the right location and the right mindset, it's not a bad time. Interest rates have the mortgage interest rates, not what the Fed talks about, but mortgage interest rates have trickled back down. I mean, they're not 3%, but they're probably 5.5, mid fives. Again, for those on this audience, I'm assuming people in this audience are closer to my age. I remember the good old days when I had a 12, 13% mortgage rate. And then it got below 10. We had a party thinking we can never go lower than this. Well, who knew? So again, and then prepping it for sale, that's a discussion that we would have at length. We obviously, if you're planning to move to a senior community, can you do that first without the proceeds of the sale? If you're looking to buy a smaller home like a condo, can you do that? Can you afford to do that without the proceeds of the sale? So we can come into an empty home, I call it an empty canvas, and make it look like what today's young millennial Gen Z buyer is looking for. What a Gen Z and the millennial people want are very different than what Ron Greenwald at 67 is looking for. So again, a discussion. Doesn't have to be, but just food for thought. So prepping for sale and living your home are very two different strategies of what people want to see. And I think, leverage. Real quick, if you're thinking of selling your home in the next year, 2 or 3 years, I go back to know about your house. You do not want to be blindsided. If you're going to sell your house, the buyer's going to do a home inspection, and you don't want to be blindsided by thinking that your house is perfect. There is no perfect house. Just like there's no perfect person, there's no perfect house. So maybe we do some advanced inspections on your home. We can do a home inspection. Maybe you get your favorite plumber, electrician, roofer out there over the course of the next 12 to 18 months. Because right now, forget getting a roofer. You're not going to find a roofer for the next year with all the rains we've had. But anyway, get those inspections so you can find out a little bit about your house, and small problems, small fixes, big problems, lots of money. So again, my passion for you, my commitment to you, if you sell your home, is to get you the most money possible in the marketplace. But how do I do that? I need to know that your house has had these inspections, had this work done, or you choose not to do the work. If you choose not to, that's a choice. How it will impact pricing, that's what we have to talk about. You don't have to do anything. You can sell as is, but just what is it worth to you will a $20,000 investment, a $5,000 investment get you $20,000 to $50,000 more on the sale of that home? That's what we're looking at. We're not asking you to spend 5 to get 5. So that's expectations. I want to get the questions next. Okay, we talked about this. Curb appeal, fresh and bright, minimalist when you're selling a home. Take the emotions out of it. We don't mind pictures of family. We just don't want thousands of family pictures on the wall. We only want maybe 2 or 3 family pictures on the wall. Okay, next. Questions. I saw hands go up, so. Chat, is it in chat? Anybody? I know lots of information in 55 minutes, so I want to make sure you have time for questions.
And feel free to either unmute yourself or just submit it in the chat. Either way, we can answer those questions, whichever way you feel comfortable. There's Ron King.
You see me?
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yep.
Do you work on commission for just part of this, or do you have to have the whole package?
Who am I talking?
This is Carol.
Oh, I'm Carol Carriage.
Great question. Thank you. We do not charge for our time to consult with you. We are, how I make a living, how Matt and I make a living, how the whole team makes a living is we are real estate agents. So we make a commission on the closed sale of the transaction. So our time, we do not charge. We're not attorneys, so we don't charge for the time. So we're happy to meet with you and converse with you, and take it from there. Yeah, we are committed to the UCSD Retirement Association for sure.
Thank you.
Is that answered? I want to make sure I answered the question.
Well, I guess I was wondering if you make it more personal, you can come in and just do part of this, like look at what you might need to
Yes.
sell.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're not asking you to sell. We will, again, part of our commitment to the UCSD Retirement Association, everybody we work with, is to come in and give you an assessment of what we think you might want to consider doing to the house, whether you're selling today or never, whether you're giving it to the kids. So that's our commitment to you, to just what part of this process do you want to help with?
Yeah.
And
Okay.
we'll
Thank
give
you.
we'll give you the resource. We want to be your resource. We want to be your one-stop call. Ron, I need X, Y, or Z. Matt and I will give you X, Y, or Z person to call. Again, they'll charge, again, I can't speak for the person, but we can tell you how they get paid and how they charge.
Thank you.
Ron, do you have a question?
Yeah. One thing I'm glad I did it before the pandemic, was I replaced a lot of my more expensive infrastructure items like HVAC and water heater. And I've heard some of those have doubled. Like they told me, because I get an annual inspection for my HVAC in particular, and they said, the price of that has doubled. Part of that cost is, I'm in a condo, and part of the main part of the unit's on a roof. So it costs money to lift the old unit off and put the new unit on. Right. That's doubled. That was, I think, initially around $500. I think that's $1,000 now to lift the old unit off and put the new unit back on the roof. So it's probably, something as part of an inspection, to look at your major potential costs and do it sooner rather than later, particularly if you intend to continue living in your unit. And then if you have to sell, that could be a selling point too, that you have newer infrastructure items that are already in place. So that's a suggestion. And then I think Vanya can confirm that the Retirement Association, I've seen Ron at some of these events, have been visiting some of the local retirement communities, doing tours. Ron mentioned you can do that on your own, but also the Retirement Association had been doing that. I don't know if they were still doing that or
we're gonna get back to that. The end of 2022, they kind of re-shut themselves down, and then the first quarter of the year, they've kind of been on pause, but we're going to definitely get back to that the second half of the year, with Vanya's permission.
Yes, I think that's something that's of great interest, and I'm getting those dates over to you soon,
Okay.
Ron.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Thanks, Ron.
And then Patricia, you have a question?
Yes. Can you recommend, are there companies you would recommend to help with moving or downsizing, or is there a list that we could?
I don't have I can, when you say that, you want the actual moving company, or do you want the person that come in and do the packing and the sorting and the kind of going through the stuff with you?
Kind of all of the above.
Okay. Yeah, there's a company, and I can send you their information that we have used, and they've done an incredibly good job, because I say we've just completed 3 senior moves used. And so if you want to offline, give me I can just email it to you, or what's the best way to get it to you?
You could just email it to me, I guess.
Let me give you my email, and that way you don't have to say your email over there.
Okay. Well, I didn't know if Vanya would give it to you.
Oh, there it is. There's the last slide.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me just take a picture of that.
Take a picture of that. And anybody on this call, if you tonight, when you're at 3 a.m, when you're getting up and you're going, what did Ron say? I'm curious. Please, I won't answer the email at 4 a.m, but I will see it in the morning and I'll be happy to address it. Whatever it may be in this, you have and again, I know I'm talking to who I'm talking to on this crowd, but somebody in your sphere, in your world that is probably in need of some help, assistance in the senior space. They may not, again, they don't know what they don't know, whether it's an estate plan, whether it's a senior move manager, whether it's a third-party fiduciary, whatever it is, so that their life can be as best as possible. We are here to provide resources for that.
Okay, thank you so much.
Ron, I joined the call late. I was out away from my computer. The question I have is, if someone is moving into one of the senior residents like La Costa Glen or Scripps Glen, something like that, and now because of Prop 19, if they don't sell their home, their new primary residence is considered that facility. Is that correct? So their children we can't pass on the parent-child tax benefit if we.
You can pass on if the children are going to live in your present home.
Right.
They have to live there, and there is a cap on it up to $1 million.
Yeah, I don't know the number.
Yeah, it's
Right.
not as clear cut as it used to be.
Yes.
So if your son or daughter is going to move into your primary residence, they can apply for the parent-child exclusion. It's going to be capped.
Right.
If they're not, no, they do
No,
not.
I understand about they have to take occupancy. But my question is, if I was living in La Costa Glen and my home is become a rental or whatever, on my death, are they still able to capture Prop 19? Because that's not my primary residence. I've been at La Costa Glen.
No. The minute you move out and declare a new residence, and again, I say that I hate to play attorney and the expert on Prop 19. I know enough to be, I know enough, dangerous type of thing. But if it becomes a rental, they're going to reassess that thing fast. Again, tax dollars are always, priority, right? To our different government agencies. They're going to find that real quick.
Mm-hmm. And my brother and I are in the process right now of dealing with the tax assessor. One of us is taking occupancy of our parents' home within the time frame, and they're giving us a bad time. I don't know if you have any suggestions on what do they want? What do they want us to prove? If we're moving in and taking utilities and everything in our name, what else can we do to show proof that we're making this our primary?
Literally just go down to the county tax assessor's office and ask for a one-on-one meeting.
Is that enough?
Okay. Thank you.
I wouldn't, again, how do I say this kindly?
Yeah.
It's a journey with all of they're all working remotely and one doesn't talk to the other. So I would just ask for a personal meeting. And then if that's still an issue, there are real estate attorneys that's all they do. Fight. They're advocates for this. And again, I know you don't want, that can be money, but obviously if you think about it, it could be, if you spend a couple grand for the attorney fee to get you what you want, it's a huge number.
Okay. All right. Yeah, because we're running into problems and the clock is ticking. Yeah, due to the anniversary of the date of death. Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else?
I think that's it. Anyone else have another question?
I don't see any, but Ron, thank you so much for doing this presentation. Super informative.
Thank you. Love you all, you guys. Be well. Happy spring. Happy, hopefully no more rain. Although we love the rain. Don't get me wrong. But I like to get my roof fixed.
Thank you very much.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Goodbye, all.